Stellar Naviga. Test story 3, day 2. Let's go.
Welcome to history. I'm excited about the many things we're going to continue learning about geography.
I'm excited about the many things we're going to
Now, in our
continue
last
learning
lesson, we talked
about
some
geography
things that are
and history in
located
our
on our
lesson
globe.
today.
We learned
Now, in our
about
last lesson, we
continents.
talked about some
oceans.
things
How many
that are
continents
located
do
on
we
our
know?
globe. We learned about continents. We learned about oceans. How many continents were there, Dev?
Carson?
There are many. There are quite a few that we talked about. Help him out, Carson.
Any one of the 7 that we
There
learned
are
about,
7.
Kaden.
Give me a continent name that you remember. You can pick any one of the 7 that we
talked
learned about,
the
Kaden.
different oceans. Now, as I move our globe,
Yes, Africa is a continent, and we talked about many different oceans. Now, as I move our globe, you're going to notice that it's spinning. The point at which it spins on the point is called the axis. So it spins, and the spinning takes place on the Earth's axis. If I were to take this globe and divide it right through the middle, right in the middle, we have an imaginary line. Now, it's imaginary. Our globe, you can see that it's divided. But if you go to this place on our Earth, you will not see an actual line written or drawn in the ground. It's imaginary, but on our globe, you can see that it's divided. This is called the equator. The equator runs through the middle and divides the top and the bottom. So the top is called our northern hemisphere, and the bottom is called our southern hemisphere. Some of our continents are more located on the northern hemisphere, and some of our continents are mainly located on the southern hemisphere. Now, to use a map, we're going to need a compass rose. The compass rose will show us the different directions. On the compass rose, you can see north. It's located pointing towards the top. You can see south. It's pointing down. You can see west is pointing to that side, the left side, and then east is pointing to the right side. It would spell the word we as we go across. So north, south, west, and then east. So if I'm referring to the northern hemisphere, that would be on the north. If I'm referring to the southern hemisphere, that would be towards the bottom of our globe. If I would be talking about something that's on the west, it would be on the left side of the globe, or something that's on the east, it would be on the right side of our globe. So now let's take a look at our map that we've stretched out flat and find North America. By looking at North America, I want you to go east. What ocean lies east of North America? What ocean would that be, Emily?
Atlantic.
Yes, it is the Atlantic Ocean. I like how you found it. Now let's go to the continent of Africa. If I were to go west of Africa, what ocean lies west of Africa, Anna? Yes, it's still the Atlantic right there in the middle. Now if I were to go to the continent of Africa and go east of the continent of Africa, what ocean lies east of the continent of Africa, Jackson?
India.
Yes, the Indian Ocean right here is east of Africa. If I were to go south, all the way down to Antarctica, what ocean lies north of Antarctica? Gage? What ocean is this? Yes, it is the Southern Ocean. So those directions are very important when locating things on our globe and on our map. Now we're going to remind ourselves of our continents and oceans. So we'll start with Asia. Ready? Begin. Asia, Europe, Africa, North and South America, Great job, you may be seated. And those things are key in helping us be able to use our globe and our map to be able to locate certain places. Now, as we start in America, when we think of American history at the very beginning, there were a lot of native people in our land here. Well, eventually, Eventually, there was an explorer named Christopher Columbus who came to this land and he accidentally discovered it. And now we were able to colonize. From that point on, colonization of America began. We're going to start by reading about Christopher Columbus and learning more about his journey and his discovery of the continent at the time that there were some native people living on it. So let's take a look at the sideboard. Jackson, will you get the lights for us? And we'll go over some words that we'll need to watch for in our reading today, and that will be also useful as we find out about the discovery of America. These first two, equator and hemisphere, we went over in geography time. So read this first word for me, Carly. Yes, Christopher Columbus is the name of our explorer that we're going to learn about today. And Yuna, read this name for me. Yes, Leif Erikson. He's a very interesting explorer. We'll find out some more fun facts about him. And read this last phrase, Anna.
Sea of darkness.
Yes, the Sea of Darkness. We're going to find out what that is and what is located in that Sea of Darkness. So open your history books today. We're going to start on page number 4 with chapter 1, Christopher Columbus, the years 1451 to 1506. Tell us when he lived. Look down at the bottom of that page and you'll see a timeline. The timeline of when Christopher Columbus lived and when he discovered the New World. Now I want you to find on that timeline, on that page, George Washington. Now, from looking at the picture of George Washington, was George Washington before or after Christopher Columbus? What do you think, Aiden?
After.
He was after. So let's have row 1 come and be ready to begin reading with sailors and sea monsters. And Jackson will come and read for us.
As a boy, Christopher Columbus watched the wide ship sail into his hometown of
Short E.
Jinja.
Long O.
Jinja.
No.
Geno.
Mm-hmm.
Geno.
Mm-hmm.
Town.
Italy. Genoa.
Genoa was a very important seaport town at that time. Young Christopher had many questions for the sailors.
Good job. Way to work to be accurate and continue, Cadence.
What are the other lands like? How do you guide the ships by the stars at night? What is the sea like? Are there really monsters in the big sea enough to swallow whole ships in one big boat? Have you ever seen boiling spots in the sea?
Very good smoothness. Continue, Emily.
Christopher wasn't the only one to wonder these things. The sea was a big mystery even to sailors of that day. If they sailed too far from land, would they ever be able to get back? No one has seen monsters or boiling spots, but all sailors wonder about them.
Very good accuracy and smoothness. Rest your book. So, where did the city and the country, where did Christopher Columbus live as a child, Deb? Sorry. Yes, Genoa, Italy. Let's say that, class. Ready? Begin. Genoa, Italy. Excellent. That was where he lived. What was something he began wondering as a child? He was always thinking, and what was the question he had, Morgan?
What were there boiling spots?
Yes. So just like a scientist, he was ready to test his hypothesis and see, was that true or not? Continue reading for us. Carly. Christopher wasn't. Oh, let's start again with the Sea of Darkness. Right on the side.
Italy is just one of the many countries on the continent called Europe.
Portugal.
Spain, England, France, Germany, and Russia are a few other countries in Europe, just as the United States, Canada, and Mexico are all part of the continent called North America.
Good accuracy. Way to work for smoothness. Rest your books. So, Italy is one country in the continent of Europe. Thank you, Carly. And on the continent of Europe, there's many other countries located with it, but all of these people had the same thinking at the time. Now, we're going to find out more about Leif Erikson and how does his story connect with Christopher Columbus. So books up, and let's begin reading inside of that little box about Leif Erikson, and come Amaya and read for us about him.
And Christopher Columbus's. It is believed that Leif Erikson, a
Long I.
Viking explorer, landed in North America about 500 years before Columbus. Many people in Europe had never heard of the Leif Erikson in 1492, when Columbus sailed to islands off the coast of North America as he tried to find a better way to reach the Indians.
Not Indians, the
Indies.
Yes, so rest your book. Who discovered the island or the country of America and the continent of North America first? Was it Leif Erikson or was it Christopher Columbus, students watching? And Carson? It was Leif Erikson. But many people didn't know about him and his discovery, and it was kind of forgotten. So when Christopher Columbus comes along, he is able to make some more discoveries about it. Now let's take a look at the important words and important names at the bottom of this page. They're going to come up as we continue reading. So books back up, and let's have row 5 come to be ready for us. And Asa, I would like you to pick up with pirates and read those words to watch for.
Pirate, sailors who rob from ships. Caravan, a group that travels together, especially through the desert. Voyage, a long trip across the sea or ocean.
Way to work to be accurate. Continue, Lexus.
Christopher Columbus, the explorer who discovered the New World while searching for a sail.
While searching for a sea route
To the
Indies.
Known as
Admiral.
of the ocean sea.
Ferdinand.
And Queen Isabella, the King and Queen of Spain, who provided ships and money for Columbus's voyage.
Nina. Pinta.
And
Santa. Maria.
Columbus's 3 ships.
Yes, use that phonics to sound those words out and continue for us, Kathleen.
In Christopher Columbus's day, no one in Europe knew about America. No one in North America knew about Europe. Most people
Europe thought the rest of the world was sea. Since they had never sailed the sea, they called it the Sea of Darkness. No one wanted to sail this scary, unknown sea. No one that is but Christopher Columbus.
Good accuracy. Rest of them flat and open so you can see that picture. There, Mr. Eagle is showing us the Sea of Darkness. People wondered, are there monsters? Are there boiling spots? They didn't know what was located in the ocean. Now let's take a look at that flat map and you'll see some of the continents that we talked about. Put your finger on North America. Put your finger on South America. Now find Africa and Europe. Now inside of Europe you see some countries. Italy, Spain, and Portugal. Now, go over to North America. Go south of North America, and you're going to find some islands. These islands are San Salvador, Cuba, and Hispaniola. They're going to be important as we continue learning about Columbus's story. Sailing at Last. Books up in reading position, and continue reading your cadence.
No one is sure when Christopher Columbus began sailing on ships. But one thing this is certain, he loved sailing. Before long, he became captain of his own ship. Back and forth he sailed to countries that were close by. How he dreamed of the day when he could sail farther to learn about the world. One day, someone asked Captain Columbus to sail a ship to the distant country of England. For the first time, he sailed out into the noisy, restless ocean. The sailors soon learned to trust their captain. He could handle the ship with ease.
Very good. Smoothness. You may rest your books. So, Christopher Columbus loved to do something. What did Columbus love to do, Josh?
Sail.
Yes, and he began sailing. He was the captain of his ship. He had a lot of people that worked for him on his ships. But life didn't always go very smoothly for Christopher Columbus. We're going to find out that something that happened that's not very great, a tragedy happened to him and his sailors as he's sailing one day. So let's have row 2 come to be ready to read for us. Books up. We're going to find out shipwreck. Begin reading there for us. Jacob.
Shipwreck. As Columbus sailed from Spain to England, his ship rounded the coast of
Start again with shipwreck.
As Columbus sailed from Spain to England, his ship rounded the coast of
Portugal.
Suddenly, a group of pirate ships attacked the ship. Columbus would not give up. He fought bravely, but there were too many pirates fighting against him. The ship broke apart and sank, and all the sailors drowned. Christopher Columbus grabbed hold of a large board that was floating in the water. Holding on to the oars, he kept himself full. After many hours, he was washed ashore in the country of Portugal.
Good accuracy. And we're going to rest our books there. Thank you, readers. You may return to your seat. As Christopher Columbus was sailing one time between a couple of his countries, something came and attacked his ship. What was that, Caden?
Pirates.
And what happened to his ship, Presley? Yes. Did anyone survive, Arthur? No. There was one person who did. Who was it? Christopher Columbus. He was the only one that survived. How did Christopher Columbus survive, Hayden?
He got washed up.
Yes, and he was able to hold on to something, that piece of wood that kept him floating, and he was eventually washed ashore, and he did survive. God saved him alive for a special purpose, and we're going to continue learning what that purpose is in our next few lessons. Turn the page, and let's take a look at the next page. We've got a comprehension check that we're going to go through, and let's begin begin answering some of these questions. Number one, Christopher Columbus grew up in Genoa, and what was the name of that country, Deb? It was Italy. That was an important seaport town. Number two, who landed in North America about 500 years before Columbus? What was that man's name, Morgan? Leaf is right. His last name is Erickson. Good job remembering his first name. Number three, in Christopher Columbus's day, the people of Europe called the explored land the Sea of what, Jacob?
Darkness.
Yes, the Sea of Darkness. So you can go ahead and write that answer on that line. And then students watching, you can go ahead and finish that with your on-site teacher. And don't forget the facts we've learned. We'll be back to learn more about Christopher Columbus in our next lesson.